Now to discussion, there has been an existing amnesty for defaulting taxpayers, which the tax authorities are now saying it's no longer business as usual as prosecution of defaulters commences. Joining me to discuss tax compliance for national development is the Executive Secretary, West African Tax Administration Forum, Babatunde Oladapo. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. There has been this discussion or conversation about widening the tax net. As a tax administrator, how would you assess tax compliance in the country?
Yeah, the best way to assess tax compliance in the country is to simply look at the volume of taxes collected, and then take a look at the population of Nigerians and businesses. As at the last count when FRS went to town with the figure, I think registered taxpayers were just around 41 million in Nigeria.
41 million.
Yeah, both individuals, corporates, and that means the national and subnational tax authority. And the quantum of taxes collected when
that is before they've started the campaign on widening the tax net, or is it after?
Yeah, the figure I quoted was last year, where the executive chairman FRS was making a presentation, so it's a publicly available information.
Okay.
I'm sure there will have been some increases, but when you now look at the quantum work, if you look at 41 million, and we have businesses, so it shows. And then when you put the issue of how much does tax revenue, tax to GDP, which is still among the lowest in the world, 8%. So the simple answer to that question is tax compliance is still very low in Nigeria. It's still very low.
So you are the tax administrator.
Yeah.
You should do something about why it's low and why you should improve it.
Yeah. The tax administrator.
I mean, the efforts we've put in place, is it not enough? Or we are not just getting the right right policies? So
okay, so for the tax administrator is not a one-man show.
Okay.
It's not. Tax administrator worked with a couple of people. You need support. Keeping in mind that for you to effectively tax, you must have good laws.
Okay.
Laws that were.
But do we have good laws to really that effect?
To certain recently, most especially what has been done by virtue of the Finance Act, it's a brilliant, it's a brilliant innovation on the part of the Ministry of Finance. That way, the amendments are done without having to go through some legislative route that will take long-drawn processes. So you can amend the tax law within a fiscal year, and then the following. It shows dynamism in the part, and then you have the Ministry of Finance working closely with FRS and the Ministry of Justice and other players that you are not likely to see in the news, but they are collaborating. So what am I saying? That the tax administration might be doing things, but if you don't have a 360-degree support in terms of, one, the whole of government approach to taxation in Nigeria, it might be a difficult task. Why did I say no? Tax administrators thrive on data. Data resides in other agencies. If you're not getting the right, I'm not saying they are not getting the right, or we are not getting, I shouldn't issue a disclaimer, I'm a tax administrator. So if you're not getting the data you require as and when due, there will be a snag. If these data are not reflecting peculiar, because when the data come for taxpayer, it shows you location, it shows you their consumption pattern, it shows you the income available to be taxed. Those are the kind of, sometimes you get from the bank, sometimes you get from the Register of Complaint, that is the Corporate Affairs Commission, sometimes you get from other agencies just like the court. Because for instance, when you sell a piece of land at a profit, you go to the court. And if the court does not provide that data that someone transacted a business and came and do this, that data is out of the view. So in that sense, you may not be able to recover the capital gains tax. So for tax administration, it should be a whole of government approach vis-a-vis citizen support, because there's no way you can run away from taxation. Taxation is the bedrock of development.
Of course. The harmonization of the tax authorities, will it help tax revenue generation?
Yes, certainly it will. Let's look at the global practice. In some countries, you have unified revenue authorities. That's like a central body is in charge of tax. I mean, while you still allow the local government to collect what is rates and levies, but the main source of taxation, with the corporate and the payroll taxes, it's centralized. That way, you can get a common pool, and then you come up with the sharing formula. But being Nigeria, for what we are, is a federal state, we have federal, we can still collaborate more than what we are doing. Yes, we have the joint tax board, but it has to go beyond the tax authority to the state government supporting the tax authority to collaborate effectively. When you look at the way it is in Nigeria, most of the taxes collected are from corporates. There are high net worth individuals in Nigeria walking away with their arms swinging. And because the National Tax Authority, the FRS, is not directly responsible for collecting those income tax, it becomes difficult. So if the state do not collaborate with the center that has certain capacity to enhance their ability, then it means some taxpayers will just be walking through the loop and just making mincemeat of our effort.
And how can technology now enhance the centralization of this data we're talking about?
Yeah, technology is a game changer, but we also need to look at the other side of technology. It's a case of garbage in, garbage out. It is what you feed technology that comes, because there is a beginning of the process.
Of course.
But technology is definitely the end thing. Tax administrations globally are digitalizing their processes, and the cost of collection is being reduced. From your comfort of your home, you could pay your taxes. That's where we should be. From the comfort of my home, I can go to the internet and find out how much am I liable to pay. I can file out my monthly VAT returns online. I can file out my payroll taxes online. It saves time, it saves costs, and it also promotes transparency. People can see the trail of what will, but we need to be cautious of the type of technology we are using. Is it the one that can suit our environment? Is it the one that we can tinker with and it gives us what we need?
Okay, utilization of the capital gains tax on profit from sale of stocks, bonds, precious metals, and real estate is seen as a gold mine yet to be tapped.
Yeah.
So how can this really improve revenue generation?
Certainly, because capital gains there is excess, the profit you are making, which is an income in your hand. And if it's not in the tax net already, if you are not, that means it's a minus. Let's say you are planning to build 100 rows, you've expected to raise so volume of revenue. So if you're not getting the money from capital gain tax in a certain transaction group, that means the development agenda by government, you won't be able to. So definitely capital gain tax is an not fully utilized area of, so it's one of the emerging areas that tax authority will need to focus more on as people dispose properties. Mind you, it's when you dispose it at a profit. If it's at a loss, nobody bothers you. But when you gain that lawfully, you should pay your tax. Definitely, it's a plus.
Okay, what other ways can we use to explore alternative tax returns somehow?
Yes, like you mentioned, yes, at the beginning you were talking about broadening the tax base.
Yeah.
For instance, a tax handle like VAT, if you look at the volume of non-compliance, and that's one of the pain of the FRS.
Okay.
I've read about the SXI talking about people holding on, because sometimes government appoints. There's two ways that VAT works. It's the one that comes on the consumption of some good directly to you, while some are appointed to withhold the VAT and remit to government. Then in that instance, you have a withholding agent withholding VAT and not remitting.
Yes.
That's income loss. And that's criminal. And that's what we see around. Sometimes you go to a hotel or some supermarket, you see VAT.
But why can't we get tough about these things?
Yeah, I think the FRS has been trying, but that's why I mentioned earlier on, it's a synergy. FRS is saddled with the responsibility of assessing, collecting, and accounting for taxes. Although within the system, you still have the compliance enforcement people in there, but actually the job of prosecuting lies with the justice system. So it means if judges are going to adjudicate on tax issue, they need to be knowledgeable. They need to be able to say, oh, this is the application of the law. So herein I find a burden of a work for the tax agency. Earlier in the day, I was talking with a lawyer from the Ministry of Justice. Yeah, yes, you have the tax appeal tribunal, which is also a way of promoting a win-win situation. You don't have to go to the law court, do arbitration. It's less expensive. It doesn't consume time. Both of us will come out of there, we shake hands and say we are still friends. That's a good, but there are some recalcitrant taxpayers that you need to take to the court and send to jail for people to know that when you evade taxes, there are penalties, because it's also key for people to know that when you don't pay your taxes, you are likely to go to jail.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Babatunde Oladapo, Executive Secretary, West African Tax Administration Forum.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to share your thoughts.
You are welcome. Thank you very much.